So here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Alrighty, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Mornings with Matt. I'm going to do myself a favor here and hopefully figure out that we are, in fact, recording audio. So, there we go. We are recording audio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mornings with Matt. I had a little bit of a false start here because Joey and Brian are on the road. Joey usually helps me with this audio stuff, and he did everything a man can do last night to set me up for success, and I still failed. So, there you go. My bad. How do you fix something like that? That's a good question. Well, you practice. So today's a fail. I'll just take the fail, chop that up for a failure. So today was a practice. Ideally, if I were smarter than I am, I would have practiced something else yesterday and would have done like a series of practices where I could have failed not live. But here we go. I failed live. Anyway, today, I know, I'm very hilarious. So, today's topic is on rituals, as a matter of fact, and what a great ritual to put into practice if you're going to be doing live by yourself is to have a certain series of things that perhaps you ought to check and go over before you go live. That way, you don't go live without audio, which, of course, is embarrassing. But why would we want to have rituals? So this is a part of a 4-day series. This is day 2 of our 4-day series. If you missed yesterday, it was incredible. We went live right away with good audio yesterday. And we talked about environment. So if you missed that, check into yesterday's episode where we dive deep into how to declutter your space. And that idea is very important because you want to be able to start with this clean slate. So I won't go into detail there because we did talk about that yesterday, and I'd like you to check that out. But today we're going to talk about rituals. This is day 2 of our 4-day series called E.R.O.S, E.R.O.S. And the R stands for rituals. That is day 2. So what is a ritual? A ritual is like a habit, but it's something that you very, very purposefully put into place in order to create some kind of a feeling. So here's a good example. My wife and I have created a ritual for my youngest son, Finn, to help him fall asleep. So the ritual is very simple. He's 1.5, so he doesn't really brush his teeth, but he does chew on the toothbrush. He likes to do that. And so we'll have him chew on the toothbrush. He'll get read a few books. He likes to nurse before bed. And then he and my wife stare at each other. It's the cutest thing in the entire world. And he'll just say, Mom, Mom. And she'll go, Finn, Finn. And they do that for about 7-8 minutes. And then he gets into this state of relaxation and he falls asleep. And so what's happened now is if you repeat that series of events, then Finn is going to fall asleep. He is now programmed to take that ritual and then use it, or we've helped him use it to fall asleep. Professional athletes use this same idea. You think about a basketball player like Steph Curry, and he's got a ritual for when he's standing at the free throw line. I'm sure he's got a lot of different rituals, but this one's pretty obvious. He stands at the free throw line, he spins the ball a little bit, takes a few dribbles. He always spits out his mouth guard and he chews on it a little bit, and then he shoots his shot. And he's one of the guys that has one of the best free throws in the history of the game. And so what does he do when there's 2 seconds left on the clock and they're down by 1 and he gets fouled and sent to the free throw line and he's got to make the shot or they lose? What does he do? Well, he dribbles a couple times, bends his knees, chews on his mouth guard, and then he shoots. And it's the same thing he does at the beginning of the game, and it's the same thing he does in practice. He does it every time. he does this thing. So for Finn, it's falling asleep. For Steph Curry, it is relaxing during this particular exercise to put him in a state where he can be successful, where his body remembers what success feels like. And so we as people want to be always doing this thing. We want to be creating rituals for ourselves that create success. So this is something in my life that I know a lot of you have heard this before, but I had this big awakening on February 2nd, 2018, the day I woke up. And what happened was I just decided. It was like a light switch. And it's funny because Brian is watching right now, and I know he's on the road, but Brian guy, what's up, dog? Love you, buddy. So Brian guy was talking to me yesterday, and we had this little like skirmish, I would call it, a little bout of the minds, and he's like, it's not just a light switch, man. I can't just flip it off like a light switch. And I was like, you can actually. He's like, but you can. I go, well, you can actually. The audience agrees with me, and so we had this discussion, and then before you know it, he did. He flipped like a light switch this idea, and it's not like it's going to be perfect. But it's just a mindset that you decide, hey, whatever this area is, whatever this particular thing is that's been holding me back, I'm just going to decide today no longer. No longer will I put up with XYZ behavior. And so what happened for me was I woke up and I started reading the Bible. And when I say woke up, I mean I woke up early. I started really waking up. So we're talking about 4:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I pushed it back to 3:30 at one point because I was really feeling good, loving this morning time. But it became a series of events that were bettering my mind, body, and spirit. So I wake up, cold shower, grab the Bible, make sure that I'm listening to I like to listen to audio tape, so I'm listening to the Bible on tape. Then I fill my mind with some kind of a positivity, either whether that's a motivational video of some sort or an audiobook, something that's going to fill my mind with productivity and creativity. And then I write. And then I speak. And so by doing this process of writing and speaking and filling my mind with good things and with filling my spirit with God, and then working out too. I added working out to it. So then I would ride my bike to work and go to the gym. I used to climb Camelback Mountain 3 days a week and do all these different things. And so my rituals started really setting me and the Deering Acting Studio up for success in all new ways. And so it's very exciting. And so this is the power of a ritual. And so I want you to think about in your own life, what are some rituals that maybe you have that you didn't even realize you have? What things do you prepare for in such a way that you just sort of do it? You know, maybe you sit down at a desk and you turn your coffee a certain way and set it down, and you like to sort of do a certain, I don't know, ritual of sorts to snuggle yourself into the space before you begin whatever it is. I know a bad ritual, a negative ritual that I used to have was when I would come home, I would do one of these. I'd do like this, and I would drop my bag, take off my hat, kick off my shoes, go to the refrigerator, prepare all the food I thought I was going to want to eat for like the next hour, along with a couple, like 2 or 3 different beverages. And then I would bring all that stuff over to the couch and I would create this little nook for myself. Why? Because I didn't want to have to get up. I was like preparing myself for the ultimate laziness of all time. And so then I would have like my little corner nook, and then I would turn on the television. I would just zone out. And this is something I used to do prior to February 2nd, 2018, the day I woke up. And it was a ritual. And it was a ritual that I enjoyed but it wasn't a ritual that was actually helping me get to where I personally want to go. So there are no, I don't think this is not something for you to be judged on. You know, you've probably got different rituals that are both good and bad, depending on your definition of bad. Because some people are just like, you are where you are and you're okay with that. And I'm okay with that. I mean, really, there's no reason to push when it's not really what you want. In fact, we're casting for a commercial yesterday in order to encourage people to stop smoking. That was the point of the commercial that we were casting for. Really good cause. But because, you know, quitting smoking is hard. I mean, that's a really, really hard thing to do. So if you're in the process of quitting smoking, number one, I feel you. I mean, that's a tough thing. But number two, you could use some encouragement. So that's what this commercial is all about. It's a great concept. But if you think about this, it doesn't matter how good the commercial is if you're not already in the process. If you haven't decided that this is something you want to do for you, then you may start the process and then you may just fall off and then fall off and then fall off and then fall off because it's not something you actually want to change. So if you want to change something, you want to get better at something, you want to put yourself in the right state of mind, let's say every morning or before you zone in for work, whatever it is, you've got to create a ritual for it, but you also have to want to get better in that area because if you don't want it, you'll put it into place, but then you won't really follow it and you won't really believe in it. And at the end of the day, this stuff is all about belief systems. You have to think it, you have to imagine it, you have to believe it in your mind, you got to see it before it's true. And then, only then will it come true. So, we've got some homework today. You've got an exercise I'd like you to do. I want you to create for yourself a ritual. And I think you should make it small to start with, something that is very doable, something that's a one thing, and you're going to say, I'm going to do this thing, this ritual every time, every day. I'm never going to miss, whatever that is. And make it something that would help you get towards some of your life goals. So I know if you're watching this show, you're somebody who's trying to take yourself next level. You're trying to set goals. You're trying to reach new heights no matter where you're at. I always say our goal is to find the 1% and help the 1% get 1% better. And I don't mean like 1% as far as wealth and all that. I mean, we attract those people too, but I'm talking about the 1% mindset. The people who have a 1% mindset. And it doesn't matter where you are on your particular journey, but there is a mindset that a particular type of person who enjoys the idea of getting 1% better each and every day. And so, and that's a rare human being. So we want to be attracting those rare human beings and then helping them to take their lives next level, and then encouraging other people to say, hey, by the way, you can have a 1% mindset too if you want. And it doesn't matter what your 1% is or what the thing is that you want to get better at. You know, we talked about my Uncle Brian, who's Brian and Joey's uncle. His name's Brian, and he's a really cool dude. But if I think about him and I look at the rafting trip that he invited me on a few years back, it was really cool, and you could see that it was a result of him and his teammates, his wife and son and everybody else who's a part of creating these trips that they do every summer. It was a part of them getting better each and every year and pushing themselves a little bit to try rapids that were a little bit harder and to really study. And then, you know, he'd be sitting around the campfire and he's like, well, this year I learned the guitar. And so I'm trying to bring the guitar around the campfire because I wanted something new, something to fuel this, this experience for everybody. And so that's Uncle Brian's journey. He's trying to get 1% better at going down the river. That's wonderful. I mean, that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And he's serving a lot of people every summer. And so you think about this idea of 1% better. involves any area of your life that you want to get better in. You just have to make a decision that from now on, forever, I'm going to have this mastery mindset of getting better. So you need a ritual. The ritual needs to be very, very specific. So I'll tell you one of my rituals that has saved me. And coronavirus has been tough on everybody. I got to tell you, just really tough. And I'm no exception. It was tough on me too. It is tough on me. But the rituals are something that have really helped. And there are times when I didn't hit the ritual, and then times that I did. And so imagine this ritual. I, before bed, go to my closet, and I do what I call pack my bags for the next day. So I take out my clothes that I'm going to wear the next day, which is pretty much the same thing I wore the day before, just a new version of that same thing. But I take it out, I fold my clothes, I stick them on the dresser. I'm talking about underwear, socks, my hat, my jacket, the whole bit. It's right there, my shoes, ready to go. And then I read these affirmations that are on the wall, these ideas that I want to program my mind with before I go to bed. Like, I am so happy and grateful now that I've put God at the center of my life, starting every morning and continuing throughout the day with every thought and choice I make. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a servant leader to my wife and family, seeking ways to lift them up through unconditional love, which has resulted in an everlasting and mutually euphoric and thriving relationship. Things like that. And I will say these things. There's probably about 9 of them, and it really gets me psyched up before I fall asleep. And then I try to do the same thing when I wake up. So I cold shower, I do the Bible, I read these things, and I'm programming my mind. I call it my bookending my day. I think it's one of the most important rituals you can have is to bookend your day, because a lot of things are going to happen on the in-between, but you do have control over what you tell yourself, especially in those moments when you're by yourself. And that's, I think, when it's the hardest to follow through, because nobody's checking on you. It's just you and your closet. And I always say it's what you do in the dark that is going to become what you're praised for in the light, or is what going to be brought to the light eventually. And so you got to be careful about what you're doing in the dark. I got a cool story too about this. Last night we had a late acting class, and it had been a long day. And so, I brought my kids in, by the way. So thank you for those of you who were virtual students last night, because my kids were running around. It's been a crazy week. We've been very busy. It's been awesome. But I hadn't seen my kids a whole ton, so they asked if they could come into the studio. I said sure, and so they're running around. I'm trying to teach a virtual class, and so it wasn't perfect, but it was what it was, and it was good, I think, and everybody learned something. We had some fun. But I get home, I bring my kids home, and it's late now. I got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I bring them home, and the 6-year-old's just like, whoa, she's ready to go to bed, and my 8-year-old, he was tired too, wanted to go to bed. So I bring them home, send them into their rooms, and tuck in my daughter and do the whole bit. And by then, Daddy's pretty tired. I mean, Daddy wants to just call it a day. And so I fall into the pattern, where I drop my bag and I'm about this close to falling into the bad pattern, to falling into let me go back to the couch and create the nook. Let me go there. Like, there's the voice inside my head that's like, hey man, make some food and cuddle up. You've earned it. You've deserved it. That should be a ritual tonight. And I'm like, yeah, that should be my ritual. And then, lo and behold, we have a baby monitor, and my 2 sons, they share the same room. And I hear my eldest son, my 8-year-old, who I just brought home, and I can hear him through the baby monitor, and my boy is doing his affirmations. Huh. Bam! That got me. That got me big time. I just sat there and I put my ear up to the baby monitor and I listened to him saying that he was happy and grateful for these different things. And he ended his day. He bookended his day, my little 8-year-old, because I taught him how to do it, and he watches me do it. He's seen me brush my teeth and do my affirmations time and again. And I realized, yes, yes. Number one, he is on this path that's going to be unbelievable. I don't know what his life is going to be or where he's going to go, but if he can continue down this path of telling himself things that are good and true and loving and positive about him, how wonderful. And then number two, and this is what's so cool, is when you create rituals and you do certain things, it affects the people around you. And here in this case, it's affected my son in such a way that he is now residually giving it back to me. And I mean, of course, guess what I did? I picked up my stuff. I put my things down. I packed my bags for the next day, and I did my affirmations, thanks to my son. And I didn't hit the couch, and I didn't grab the snack, but I went to bed, and I fell asleep, and I got a good, deep night's sleep. And it all comes down to that one little choice, and it involves having a ritual that you have decided, like a light switch, this is going to be what I'm going to do. So I need to get stronger, clearly. But at the same time, I'm grateful that I had the ritual. I'm grateful that the ritual has been put into place, that it's affected my son's life in such a way that is positive. And I'm so grateful to him for hooking me up last night, because he's put me in a place where, dang, man, I mean, I get to grow from my boy. I can't tell you, there's probably nothing better than that. I know Joey and Brian, you all know them and love them. They're listening right now. And they've got a dad who's a pretty great dude. His name's Brad. He runs the bashes up in Wickenburg. He's like the manager, like the GM dude, the big cheese. And it's funny because Joey was telling me the other day, he's like, my dad has a lot of good rituals and habits I didn't really realize until I started paying attention. He's like, my dad gets up like almost 4 o'clock like every day. And he does these like really good, nice things for other people. And he's always this and that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And it's funny because sometimes we don't even realize the impact that we're having on each other. But here you are, Uncle Brad, obviously you're affecting your boys, and you've altered their lives for the positive, for the good. And, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, and we do things on the other end too. And so we got to be careful of those choices that we make, that the people around us, they are affected, and they will follow you. So with every decision you're making, you gotta ask yourself, hey, if my son wakes up tonight and crawls out of bed to sneak into my room to fall asleep, which he does sometimes, and he catches me on the couch chewing down the whatever it is, half a pumpkin pie and watching television and whatnot, like, how's that going to affect him long term? Because I know how the rituals that I have purposely put in place, I know how those are going to affect him long term. But how's the pie going to affect him? I mean, it will affect him. There's a fact. And it's not like it's my responsibility. It's not like I feel guilty or anything like that. I'm just saying I got to be aware of it, and I have to understand that my actions do affect other people. So, good for you, Uncle Brad. And good for you, Joey. And good for you, Jack Deering, the man, the myth, the legend, Jack Deering. So do this for yourselves, everybody. I suggest you start with something very simple, a bookend for your day, beginning and end, and make it 5 minutes to start, because otherwise you're going to fall. So it's going to be 5 minutes of some kind of a ritual, and a really, 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 really good one. A good idea is to start with writing. If you do 5 minutes of some sort of a journal, if you make that your thing, just 5 minutes, that's all it is, that alone will change your life one little bit at a time. Because in the morning, you write down, hey, here's what I'm gonna do today. Just 5 minutes, like just stream of consciousness. Here's who I want to impact today. This is the day in front of me that I want to make something of myself. I want to impact other people. I want to serve in this way. Boom, 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 5 minutes. Boom. At the end of the day, 5 minutes. Here's what I did today. Here's what I didn't do today. Here's what I wish I had done today. Here's what I'm so glad I didn't do today. Whatever it is, 5 minutes. And it's a matter of reflecting, because as you reflect and you're honest with yourself, and you got to look at it for 5 minutes, and you got to go, that's me. I wanted to do this. I did this. I thought I was going to do this, but I did this. Whatever it is. You write that down, and you'll be able to course correct on the daily. I'm a huge fan of goal setting and different things, and so I used to set goals every year, and I used to force my wife to do it, and I used to force my employees to do it. And nobody ever wanted to join me in this thing that I would do once a year. But I would force the people that I love the most to do it with me. And, slowly but surely, some of these goals started coming true. Well, since the day I woke up, February 2nd, 2018, since that day, I've been now doing goals monthly. And I look at my goals as often as I possibly can. I should look at them daily. I don't, but I should. So there we go. I'm saying this out loud. That's going to be my new ritual. Good job, Matt. Yes, I'm going to look at my goals daily. But right now, I can pat myself on the back because I'm further along than I was, because I now look at and reset my goals monthly. So the difference between that and yearly has been totally different. Now I can course correct. So imagine if you can course correct on the daily, and you should, by the way, because life is going to take you off course constantly. And there's going to be different ways of getting to where you want to get to. But if you look the other way for too long, just got to think about life like a storm. And you're trying to get from one island to the next island, and then to the next island. You have all these goals and different things you want to achieve and do. Well, so I'm on my path. When I look the other way long enough, the storm has taken me so far off course, I can't even see the island I want to get to anymore. I can't even see it. But if I'm paying attention and the storm comes, I go, cool. Now I can use this wind. I can redirect my sails, and I can use it to go, I thought I was going to go that path, but actually, if I use the wind the way it is right now, I can get there faster. I just got to course correct. And so, but that takes daily practice. It takes daily looking at where you are, what you're doing, where you were, where you are, where you want to be, that kind of thing. So this is your exercise for today, day 2, rituals on our 4-day series of E.R.O.S. And yesterday was environment. Today was rituals. So I want you to set a very, very easy, specific, and daily ritual that you are going to plan on doing, and then do it. Very simple. Bookend your day, some way, shape, or form. And if you can't think of anything, start with writing, because just to write and journal about your day, and you don't need to be a writer, you just need to write something down. Have a little notebook, write it down. You can even throw it away when you're done. Doesn't matter. Just write something down so that you can reflect and course correct each and every day. All right, that is our show for today. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to be talking about outside forces, how to protect yourself from outside forces. That is going to be day 3 of our 4-day series on feeding your focus. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been Mornings with Matt. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. Joey Bryan, love you, bros.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.